The Blue Mountains Botanic Garden at Mount Tomah is only an hour and a half west of Sydney, but it sits on the edge of a landscape that is World Heritage listed. The plants and animals of the area tell a unique story of evolution, with pockets of ancient rainforest dotted amongst the diverse eucalyptus species. In the Black Summer fires of 2019-2020, almost 80% of the World Heritage area burned, and fire threatened the Botanic Gardens too. Staff and volunteers fought for weeks to protect the cultivated collection here, while others took action to defend an elder of the botanical world, the Wollemi Pine. The Wollemi Pine is a fascinating and unique tree. It was growing when dinosaurs roamed the earth, and it's extremely rare in its natural habitat.
They're very rare in the wild. There's fewer than 100 of the plants left in the wild.
Dr. Kathy Offord has been studying the Wollemi ever since its modern-day discovery in 1994.
It has a unique genetic lineage that goes back 65 million years, and it was thought to be extinct until Park Ranger Dave Noble was canyoning in the Wollemi National Park, and then he looked across, saw the bubbly bark, and looked up and saw these huge trees and thought, oh, that's something different. Took some samples back, well, the rest is history.
The location of the ancient Wollemis, the only grove known to exist anywhere on Earth, is kept secret. This prevents would-be visitors bringing in deadly plant diseases. And the Wollemis face other survival challenges. Berin McKenzie is a fire ecologist and conservation scientist.
I was concerned that if a high-intensity fire reached the grove, that the consequences would be catastrophic.
Just such a disaster could have occurred when the Black Summer fires tore through the Blue Mountains, threatening the wild Wollemis. Berin led a team of 4 that was choppered in to save the trees.
So I received a phone call about 3 o'clock in the afternoon telling me fire was about to impact the sites and that I was needed down in the canyon at sunrise. So we set up a remote area irrigation system to pump water from the creek up into the grove, and the idea was that if we could moisten the surface fuels, if fire did reach the grove, it wouldn't burn as intensively. When the canyon started to fill with smoke and the ash started to rain, we looked at each other, but the radios weren't going off, and we knew our managers were watching us very closely. So we just focused on the work we had to do.
They'll say they were just doing their jobs, but they're heroes. It was a courageous act of conservation. Fire retardant was dropped around the perimeter of the valley, and water bombers were also used.
We'd given it the best chance, and 1, we were hoping fire wouldn't get in there, and 2, if it did, it wasn't going to burn too intensely.
The camera the team left behind recorded the fire activity. It reached the Wollemis. They survived, but they're still threatened.
We think it's so rare now because when it evolved, the environment was much cooler and wetter, and over many, many years, the environment has become drier and hotter, and possibly there's more fires in the landscape. And so the conditions now are not suitable for this species in the wild.
How did a remnant pocket like this hang on for so long?
Well, where it's hanging on is a unique location. The climate is cool and moist. It's in a canyon. But also the plant has this coppicing habit, which means that it can grow quite a number of stems. And then if one of those stems falls over, gets hit by a rock or something, one of the other stems can grow up. So it can sort of self-perpetuate. And the trees themselves could be many, many hundreds, if not thousands of years old.
Much is still being done to ensure the Wollemi species survives into the future.
We propagate and we maintain 3 copies of each plant that grows in the wild sites, and we grow them in our nursery at Mount Annan and here at Mount Tomah. We're also planting these plants in wild locations to see if we can replicate the original population in the wild.
So the future of the Wollemi as a species is looking pretty good.
Wollemi pine is the poster child for Australian threatened species, but also threatened species all around the world. It's the model of how to work on a threatened species.
One of the most beautiful things about this project is that it's not only a multi-agency effort, but a multi-generational effort. You know, there's only so much we can learn about a species that lives for 1,000 years in our lifetimes. And it's going to be future generations of scientists and conservation managers who are building on the work that Kath and I and the rest of the team are doing today.